One thing that has impressed me over the years is the ingenuity of the private sector in Kenya. Here, this is one of the developments, what is being termed as a mixed-use development. And I think I've seen this in Westlands and parts of Upper Hill, where you're having residential buildings with a blend of commercial buildings or business ventures in their neighborhood. Welcome everyone to the segment of Vitu Vidogo. So today, on this segment, we are going to talk a little bit of construction, mjengo. So that's what it is in Swahili, mjengo, or maybe construction, just construction. Ujenzi I think is the word. And maybe I'll just take you through just in general terms, and see how Canadians build houses. But this is in the province of Ontario. So every province has its own building code, but overall there's a national code. It differs from province to province because every province is different in terms of snow, in terms of the winters, the summers. So, hey, as we go on and on, maybe we shall see what we can learn, or maybe they are how you gonna think they do their thing. So here you can see already, like this is an active construction site, and if you can look yonder, that's an ongoing construction site. You can see the wood panels, on the wall, wooden panels. And if I'll take you across on the other side, you can see those are buildings or houses that are just having a finishing touch. Behind me, these houses are complete. And if you can look closely, you can see already some houses are occupied with the residents are in. If you recall from my very first video on postal services, I highlighted a need to learn how to name the streets. You can see this street has already been named. So that means the post office already has been here. They know the name of the streets, and they have given these houses or this construction site that's gonna come up, the houses already, they have been numbered, and the post office has given them addresses. I also want you to note something here, that once they subdivide the plots or it's marked for construction, they will not put up the houses without putting in infrastructure first. Would you believe it? This here is street lighting, and this here is tarmac road. The roads are already paved and they are tarmacked. If you look carefully, you will see the piping there. So there could be optic cable, there could be piping for gas, and as well, water piping as well. has already been laid. So for every house that's gonna be put up here, it's so easy to see that all the infrastructures are laid down, and the houses are just going to come up, and just once they come up, they'll just be plugged and fitted into the public infrastructure. So the public infrastructure, I think I've mentioned there's water. So that should tell you that already they have laid down the waste management system. So sewer lines are here, and as well as water or runoff drains are also laid in the ground. So it will not be a matter of putting houses first and then coming to lay down infrastructure. You see, all this work here has already been, the ground has been set, and this isn't that amazing. I can highlight, you can see it from here. I can try just to zoom in. That right there is a water hydrant. So that should tell you that they have already laid down the water system. What am I trying to highlight here? Sometimes I see, like in Kenya, once we sell once once a plot has been subdivided, you see it is the private sector that goes in there. Maybe they will subdivide a plot and people will start putting in houses, and there will not be sufficient infrastructure. For instance, maybe even power lines, they will not have gone into those places. Roads network will not be complete. There's no water. There's no waste management systems. But what shocks me is that if it comes to election times, the politicians will run in there to ask for votes. They have given nothing there. The city has given nothing. The county government has contributed nothing, yet they want the votes. The moment you put up a structure, you will put out that business there. They come there to collect money. They come there to collect the land rates. They come there, taking all this manner of levies. Yet they were not proactive in giving into infrastructure to all these places. So I think sometimes it is unfair to the Kenyan voter. It is unfair to Africans, who live or who want to have housing, and they find themselves, you do everything for yourself, and then you are taxed on top of that, but at the end of it all, you receive no service. Isn't that being shortchanged? So these are the Vitu Vidogos that I'm talking about, the small things that sometimes you wonder, because we have the city planner, and it is like this important office, it has no meaning. Everyone wants to, the governor wants to do something from off his head. Maybe the head of state wants to do something from off his head, They're without consultation, without building, without planning, without budgets. Or you want to misuse the budget and we'll be running after you for accountability. So for me, this is something I'm coming to terms with, and this is I have to highlight this, because if we want to be better, if we want to be the Singapore we always say we want to be, then we have to start somewhere. We have to give these offices meaning, especially the office of the city planner, or the office of planning, the budgetary office. The national, initially was the Ministry for Finance and Planning, and then also the planning in county level. And it's not just the planning for, on how to spend the budget, but as well the layout of the cities and the towns. So I shall go with you maybe until where I'll be permitted, because this is an active construction site. And I would wish that we can learn a few things. We can learn from them, and we can see how we can make our country better, how we can make systems work for us so that we can also have a good quality of life, because we are trying to build a society that we also enjoy and be proud of. Let us not only just be good in speaking the Queen's English, but be good enough that we can hold our own. Remember, we really need to know how to build capacity, because if we don't build capacity, then that is why I will always say it will always be so expensive for us when somebody else is coming in and building a country for us. As I had pointed earlier in the poster bill, in the poster video, the very first video, if you have not watched, check that, please go check it. So you can see already the post office has put up their post boxes, and I can see someone pushing a snow off their balcony. So, well, in construction, of course, there are a couple of things that the Canadians have gotten right. And I also maybe highlight that, construction here in Canada is unlike home. Here, it's very cheap. It's very expensive, rather. It's very expensive because there are all manner of things you have to consider. One of the things that makes construction here very expensive in Canada, the obvious thing as of right now you can see, is the winter, right? So when winter comes and we have snowfall, it limits the time on which you have to build. You see, right now, you cannot dig foundation in this weather. You cannot move much material in this weather, because every time you dig, like let's say they dig up the foundation and everything, and the snow is gonna fall on it. And then maybe at the quarries where they have to throw away the dirt, or maybe it's like in Kenya, some parts of Kenya we have black cotton soil, and the top loose soil cannot be used. You cannot construct on it, so you need to get rid of it. So on that front, with that in mind, there's nothing much you can do. So because you have to have, like, time is of the essence, then the seasons are also of the essence. So you have to know what season you are in. So which is why, like, the paving of the roads here that I've shown you, and the laying down of the pipes here, maybe they were done in summer. And this is what is going to happen when the weather gets warmer. They will go and do the foundation, and then they will try as much as possible to put up the walling so that they'll continue doing the building, the construction in winter, at least when you have the building envelope. So the building envelope is the roof and the walls. And the other thing is that, because of the extreme cold, you do not want to be exposed outside in this weather. Today is lovely. That's why I think you can see people outside. But on other days, especially in the Canadian winter, it's really, really cold. So like on this house, you can see it's already fully built. You can see outside on the outermost wall, you can see the bricks. So, and then on the other houses, I think we shall go there. You can see, like, on the wallings of them, you have plywood. So I'm on this is an urban road. You can see how many lanes we got here. It's a 3-lane road. And I would like to bring to your attention, there's a green marking here. If you saw on the other video, on what I did on roads, you got to go and see that one. The diamond mark there means this lane is a preserve for vehicles with high occupancy. Like if you are in a car and you are more than 2 people, this is a lane for you. It helps you to beat traffic. And then I also want you to note something. There's a diamond mark here and the bicycle here. If you can see, I hope you can see that clearly. So that helps. This is the cycling lane. So nowadays, when it comes to construction, the city or different cities in Toronto, in Canada, they will try to encourage cycling. You know, I mean, many people are pedestrians all over the world. You'll never have more motorists than pedestrians. So the city tries to make sure that they are building a pedestrian friendly roads. And this is also something that also needs to be worked on in not only Africa, but also in other, parts of the world. So some places you go and you cannot walk the streets because they did not factor in a walkway. They did not factor in maybe a lane for cyclists. They just put there for motorists, or somebody has built on a road reserve, denying other pedestrians or other, pedestrian also road users. So for enjoyment of the city, for enjoyment of city infrastructure, it is important. It is important to have walkways. I also want to bring you to attention. See how they have built water drainage. So this is part of the invisible infrastructure that I was talking about. You may not know about it, but it is already there. They have already put it there. So before they bring in this big infrastructure here, this housing, the roads they have built, the roads that are for the people who are going to stay here or those who are going to pass through here. And at the same time, they know there will always be runoff. So that is why they have already put a water waste management system. And of course, this is the water hydrant I was talking about. And so that will tell you that how this lot has been divided. They have already catered to the future through the infrastructure. So the infrastructure is already set up before the housing commences. So another thing I wanted to highlight now, as you can see, is the putting up of the walls. And so if you're a contractor, you want to put up the walls before the weather gets real bad, before winter begins, so that other works, finishing works, can happen. You see, like on this house, they have put in the windows, they have put the bricks on top of the wooden plywood. I hope you can see that. That's the wooden. Those are wooden panels. And why I'm saying building the construction here is a bit expensive in Toronto as compared to back home where we have warm tropical weather, or in warm tropical weather regions, is because here you have to factor in insulation. You have to factor in insulation. What do I mean? Insulation are for preserving heat in a house. So in as much as you heat up a house, you want the house to remain warm. And again, you don't want your heating bill to go too high. So those are factors that, those are things we usually don't have to think so much about, especially if you are from a tropical country, or, you know, you come from a tropical region. So these are the things that makes our building or construction, it should be cheap. For us, we in fact, even we have ventilation. We have a provision for ventilation. You just let you have those a few places above the door or above the window. You just want the air to circulate. If you come from areas that are a bit hot, like some parts of Kenya are hot, like Mombasa, or even some part of other countries like Nigeria. You know, Nigerians sometimes when they come to Kenya, or Ghanaians, they are shocked when they find that Nairobi is cool. It's cool by day and it's chilly by night, you know? So if you come from such countries, you know, sometimes they think they will have the AC. And I think also for you to have AC, maybe you may try to have maybe just uh you don't want the cool air to leak out. So maybe you try to just have just a little, you know. So if you come from countries that are hot, you know, you maybe you at night will be cool, but maybe in daytime is hot and humid. Then that's when you have, like, you know, you want to have the AC, you know. And sometimes, you know, so that the only way now to you can also have other traditional designs that for such types of homes that have always been there, like the Arab designs that make sure the house is cool. You know, you don't even have to invest in AC, but with modern times, people now invest in AC. But what I was trying to get to is that we have always had a way to deal with that. But here, the extreme temperatures, you cannot, cold temperatures, you cannot withstand. You know, a blanket is not enough, so you have to heat the houses. So this is part of the things that make Canadian housing very expensive. The other thing, and these may be engineers who have to maybe you know, they may have also to put in the comment there, is the snow factor. You see, in Kenya, we don't have snow. We don't get it. The snow that we have there is on the mountains. You know, even the Tanzanians will tell you the snow is there on Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. And snow, as it accumulates on the roof, this is just a bit of snow. It's just because the weather has gotten warm. So the snow is a little. But you will see from other footage that when the snow accumulates on the roof, the snow has weight. The snow has weight. So when you are building a house, and some other provinces, or even some cities or towns that are way north of Toronto, they have heavier snowfalls, or even some towns and cities that are on the far west of Toronto. They are in the what we call the snow belt region. So on those places, the snowfall is much heavier, and it accumulates on the roof, and snow is heavy. So they have to factor in something called the snow load. You know, when you're building a house, you factor in something called dead load. Dead load is maybe the weight of the building itself. Like if you're having the roof, that is dead load. So you have to have a strong structure to hold not only the weight of the building itself, but also even for other things like to withstand, like you see the snow. The other thing also is when you factor in you want for something called the structural integrity. So you also factor in maybe the number of people inside the house. That is called the live load. And maybe other things that gonna be added into the house, like chairs, furniture, all these manner of things. So when you're building a house, you don't just want anybody to build your house here. You want a professional to do it. And I think even the same thing even back in Kenya. Sometimes you see you see you see buildings collapse. You see buildings collapse in Kenya. Someone has invested so heavily, they have all this money, and then you see their building collapse. It's very painful that maybe someone has worked so hard and they wanted to build a house, maybe rentals or a place for themselves to live in. And sometimes you want to cut corners because sometimes it is the owner's fault. He wants to cut corners. Sometimes it may not be for his fault. Maybe somebody overpromised to build a house for less. And, they cut corners, and before you know it, your house is falling apart, and you cause damage maybe to your neighbor's property. So now you have two problems. You have gone at a loss, and now somebody else will be suing you, or maybe the county, or you'll be charged by government for for endangerment of people. Or maybe even that house may structurally hold maybe for a while, and when on unfortunate days people have already moved in, and the house collapses as it's occupied. So for me, these are some of the things that I would like to highlight and actually say, like, let us not overlook the small things. Let us not overlook the small things, because at the end of the day, they can accumulate and become problematic. Or, when we don't overlook some things and we adhere to them, like the planning. When you are planning a house, you get the best architect, you get the best maybe contractor, or at least, even if you may not try to get the very best, but somebody who knows what they are doing. You don't want what problems later. There's no need for you to spend maybe your entire life savings trying to build a dream house only for it to fall apart. Yeah, so you have to think about it. Think about it on how best we can build our country, because even that housing is also, housing is also an important part, is an integral part in any society. People want to live nicely. We want to design our cities nicely. We want to design our neighborhoods nicely. So we don't want to see nice things when you're observing the movies, or nice things as just a preserve of the few. Like Kenya now, we are having like Tattoo City, Northlands, and some other estates that are coming up. Well, they are nicely designed, but what about the rest of the country? So I think that we should try to standardize the designs of our towns. We should try to standardize that, because if I were to take you to different parts of Canada, or maybe just different towns here, you will see one thing in common: like, they are well designed, they are well planned, and it helps even in expansion, or when you want to bring down an old building and put up a new one. So for counties that are, the counties that had been marginalized and now they are getting money, this is the time for you to plan yourself well. This is the time for you to do things better. You will be surprised that people in the future will be fighting to come there and trying to abandon the big and badly planned or unplanned cities or towns. So it is for you to decide if you want future investors to come to your towns. How well are you going to design yours? So lay the right foundation. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Sometimes people will say, oh, that was a marginalized place. And you'll be like, yes, it was marginalized before. But the way we planned ourselves, we have come and overtaken those who were never marginalized, and they just took things for granted and were just doing things from off their head. Today we build here, tomorrow we build there. Those roadside declarations kind of things. I think those ones are way past their time now. So, hey, what do you think? So, subscribe, share this episode, and if you have ideas, please let's share and have a comment, and let's see how best we can change governance and put the people first. Put things that are going to help us build better communities first. Until next time, Vitu Vidogo is the small things that matter. Yes? Thank you very much. So I can't walk into the construction site. I don't have, I need a helmet and safety shoes. So, yeah, so I think I'll just walk away from that. Okay.